Right. Now let us talk about objects and what are objects. What is object oriented programming? Fine. If you are a kind of person who has never done programming, you never wrote a for loop, you never wrote an if statement, then this class will not help you. Get the access to the videos which we have. Videos are in very detail. They explain Java in very detail, all the programming concepts, and then join the training by paying the remaining fees. If you are a kind of person who is able to understand all these, then it's fine. Fine. Now about object oriented programming, there are primarily two things in the beginning which you need to understand. What is static and what is non-static, and how they are used. Okay, right. Basically I want to tell you about how do you create objects in Java. Okay, static, non-static, both are related to object creation. Fine. Now for example, I have a new class over here. Fine. And I will call that class as, say, city. So what are the properties of a city? Fine. For example, string name. Okay, then int population. Right. Okay, so these are two properties of this city class. Okay, and if I just create a new class over here, call it as test, and in this class what I'll do is that in the main function, I have not created the main function in the city class, I have created in the test class. I will write over here, I will create object of city class. What will I write? I will write new city. By writing this, I am creating the object of the city class. What happens is that in memory an object is created that gets two properties, population, fine, and the second is it will have, what was the, I forgot it, I'm sorry, name, sorry, population and name will be the two parameters for a city. Okay, I can create any number of times. I can create three objects. Okay, all the three objects will have these three parameters: population and city. Population, city. Okay, fine. Now once you have this, okay, once you have this population, city, population, name, everything, fine, you cannot access these objects. Okay, the objects are there, but you cannot access these objects. Fine. Okay, to access these objects you need object references. You will have to write like this: city C1 equals to new city, city C2 equals to new city, city C3 equals to new city, like this, right? Hold on. C1, C2, C3, what they become? They become the references to these objects. They point towards these objects. Look, object and object reference, they are different. Okay, see, object references, they point to the object, and with object references you can change the state of the object. You can write over here C1 dot name is city A, C1 dot population is 100, Similarly, you can put the values in other cities as well. B, C, 300, 500. So what will happen in the memory? In the memory, every object over here will get a city. This will be A, this will be B, and this will be C, also population. Okay, right, pretty simple thing. Okay, but hold on, if I write c1 dot name, c2 dot name, c3 dot name, and if I run this program, it will print A, B, and C. Okay, fine. Now if I write on the next line c1 equals to c2, so what does this mean? We can move the object references in the memory. C1 will no longer point over here, it will point over here where C2 was pointing, and both C1 C2 will point towards the same city B. So if I write over here the same lines, okay, hold on, and if I run the program, it will print, instead of ABC, it will print BBC, because C1 and C2 are pointing towards same object. Any one of them can change the state of the object. If I write C1 dot name is Z or X, and again print this, so what will happen is that it will print X, X, and C. For C2 dot name also it will print X, because any one object reference can change the state of the object. Okay, out of C1 and C2, any one of them makes it Z, it becomes Z for the other one as well. So basically, for an object, you can have multiple references pointing towards one object, and any one of them can change the state. But object is a standalone thing in the memory. Okay, right. Now coming over to the point that suppose there is another variable known as country. Now I know that all the cities should have the country as, say, India. Okay, so I will write over here c1 dot country is India. So I am only working with India. All the cities of India I am working with. So I will write c2 dot country also India. Then I will write c3 dot country also India. So the country is same for all the objects. It becomes the part of every object. Country becomes, although country is same for every object, country becomes a part of every object. Now this is a problem. Okay, you know that the country will always be India. Then why are you putting it inside the object when it is something which is static? Okay, which is not going to change easily. Or if it is changed, it will change for everyone. For everyone it is same. So what we do is that we make such a variable, okay, in the class as static. Look, there's a question being asked where we had declared the variables. I don't find it in class. We had declared the variables inside this city class. Okay, right. Inside the city class I have made my country static, because this country is common for all the cities. So what happens is that when you make it static, country, it gets removed from every object. It's not a part of the object now. it goes and makes a room for itself somewhere in the memory and becomes common for all the objects. This memory location becomes common for all the objects. To access this country variable, right, to access, this is just another class whose object I am creating over here in test.java. Okay, now to access this variable, you don't have to write it like this. See, it's giving you a warning. It will not give you an error. It will give you a warning that static field should be accessed in a static way. This is not the right way to access it. The right way is you keep the name of the class, keep a dot, you will get the variable country dot city dot country is India. So all the cities now will have the country as India. The static stuff in a class can be called with the name of the class after putting up a dot. Okay, so in a class you can have this static variable. This is known as a non-static variable. A non-static variable can be accessed by creating the object of the class. Okay, a static variable can be accessed directly with the class name. Okay, right, and the non-static cannot be accessed with the class name. You cannot write city dot name is say Z. Which city? Which city has got the name Z? So you have to create the object of that particular class to access the non-static variables. Static you can directly access. You can have functions as well. For example, public void say clean, and inside it I can write cleaning city and the name of the city. So this becomes your non-static function. It is also a part of the object. You can call it from here c1.clean, c2.clean, you'll get the option c3.clean. When you run this code, it prints cleaning city A, B and C. When C1 calls it, it prints the name of C1, then C2 and then C3. Okay, similarly you can have a function like public static void ABC. It's a static function. Just taking a wild example. This function is a static function. It's not the part of the object. To call this function, you can call it directly with the name of the class city.abc. So the crux is static has to be accessed with the name of the class and non-static has to be accessed by creating the object of the class. Okay, this is the golden rule, and this is, if you understand this, then the work in Selenium becomes very easy, right? Okay, because if I talk about basic stuff over here, right, if I just create a new class known as basics of Selenium, fine. Look, I just don't want to teach you Java first and then Selenium. Okay, I will teach you in a parallel way. Some Java concepts I've taught you. Okay, right, and some Java classes I have. Just a minute, my mouse, yeah, it's fine now. Yeah, some Java classes I have taught you right? Now I have to teach you Selenium, right? So I'll start with the basics of Selenium. Now few minutes back I had written the command new Firefox driver. So what I had done was that I had created the object of the class Firefox driver, which is present in these jar files, one of these jar files. Okay, and when you create the object, you need to import this. Okay, when you create the object of this class, automatically, right, a Firefox browser will launch. It's all internal. If you want to know about this class, go to the documentation of Selenium. Fine, you will find the Firefox driver over here, and you see an implementation of interface that drives Firefox. So this is the Firefox driver class. It will give you all the functions and all which you get along with it. Okay, all the description, right? Basically, if you create the object with the reference Firefox driver fd equals to new Firefox driver, and sorry, I can write fd dot, and you will get all sorts of non-static functions which you can fire on this Firefox. For example, Firefox dot get, that means go to a certain website, http yahoo.com. Writing the protocol is very important. It's not like QTP where you can simply ignore the protocol. If you don't write the protocol, you will get an error while execution. Fine. So when you run this command, you will see a blank Firefox browser opens up. Okay, right. And similarly, it goes to Yahoo as well, right? Similarly, you can work on Chrome and IE as well. Okay, to work on Chrome, you have the class Chrome driver. So there is a driver class for every browser. Okay, for example, I'll just show you in the documentation. Look, this is the interface WebDriver, and under that you have these drivers: Chrome driver, Edge driver, as the name suggests. For IE it is Internet Explorer driver, Safari driver, and all that thing, right? Now you have got this remote web driver. Remote web driver is used in Selenium GRID when you want to run the test cases parallelly. You have this event firing web driver. Nobody uses this these days. Earlier it used to be used a lot to fire complex user gestures like moving mouse and all everything. These days it is not used that much. Okay, Opera driver is there for Opera, and Safari driver. Both these drivers, Opera driver and Safari driver, they are not stable. There are lots of issues in these drivers. They give lots of errors and all everything. Okay, Chrome, IE, Firefox, they are little stabler. Okay, right, quite stable rather, right? So if you create the object of Chrome driver, fine. Look, the best part about this is that, hold on, if I just write Chrome and you hit the control space bar, control and then space bar of the keyboard, it will give you the names of all the classes which are starting with the name Chrome. You are interested in Chrome driver, so you can take Chrome driver. I can write Chrome driver cd equals to new, again ch, and then I will write this, so I get Chrome driver. Again I hit control space bar, right? And if I run it, a blank Chrome should open, and rather it will not open. I'll get an error. Okay, I'll get an exception. Look, what you need to do is that in case of Chrome, you need to actually go under the download section of Selenium HQ, right? And you need to download this third-party driver. Okay, this is the Google Chrome driver. You click on this, you click on this latest, click on the next link. Okay, now over here, if you have a Windows operating system, you can download this, the corresponding zip file. If you have a 64-bit OS, you can download the 32-bit zip. That's not a problem. Okay, once you download it, you will get this chromedriver.exe file. Okay, don't run this file. You will not get anything by running it. Okay, what you need to do is that you need to note down the path where you have kept this file. Okay, go to your program and then write this line: system.setProperty WebDriver.chrome.driver. Okay, everything should be in the lower case. Okay, lowercase, no capital letter. Java is a case sensitive language. Even if you keep W capital, you will be lost later on. You will get an error. Okay, WebDriver.chrome.driver, and give the path of this Chrome driver exe in your machine. Alright, in Java you have to put double slash, an escape sequence is there, and now when you run the program you will see the Chrome opening up automatically. Okay, right. System is a class in Java, and set property is a static function in that class. It's an inbuilt class, system, and set property is a static function. That's why you are able to directly call it by the name. And then initialize Chrome driver, and you write Chrome driver.get. You go to the website http bbc.com. So when you run this program, it will open Chrome and it will take you to BBC. Fine. Pretty simple. Many of you must be knowing about these things. Okay, look, in Java you have to have this is known as escape sequence. Okay, you have to keep double slash in the path. Okay, right. Now the third driver, which is Internet Explorer driver. Oh sorry, internet, I will write, hit control space bar, I will get this driver. I equals to new Internet Explorer driver. Again, if you create the object of this driver and run it, you will get an error. For this driver also there is an exe file which needs to be downloaded from the Selenium website, Selenium HQ. Okay, go to the download section and you will have this iDriver server for 32-bit I, not your operating system, 32-bit I or 64-bit I. For that you download it. Okay, right, I already have downloaded it, iDriver server. Fine. What you need to do is that you need to write this command again: system dot set property WebDriver dot I dot driver, and give the path of the exe file. That is, in the F drive we have drivers, and the path should be correct, followed by .exe. Fine. And now I will launch. After launching I, you can take it to http gmail.com. Fine. So when you run this code, you will see that I will open and it will take you to Gmail. Fine. But I will give lots of issues to lots of people. Fine. See, Gmail is loading at the bottom. It's loaded. The first thing is that in I, make sure that your zoom level is set to 100%. If it's not set to 100%, you will get an issue. If it's still not working, go to Tools, Internet Options, and go to Privacy, right, and go to Settings, sorry, content security. Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry about this. You have to go to security. I got confused. You have to go to security, and you will see 4 zones over here: internet, local internet, trusted sites, and restricted sites. Make sure that the leveler in every section over here is at the same location. Fine, is at the same location. Alright, fine. If it's working, then it's fine. You don't need to check that out. So these are the major drivers: Firefox, Chrome, and IE. You have to create objects of these drivers separately. Okay. Now if I'm creating the objects of these drivers separately, then look, you have to automate. Suppose you have to click on a link in IE and you have to click on the same suppose I have to simply go and log into Gmail. Okay. Or I want to go to say this website and click on the link on this page, edit this page with Selenium. Right, with Selenium, suppose I want to click on this link. Now how will I click it on IE? How will I click it on Mozilla? How will I click it on on Chrome? Will the command in all of these drivers be different? Okay, right, I want to make a program which is robust enough that it takes my input, opens the corresponding browser and automates the application in that. But writing the code, it looks like I have to write a code separately for every driver by creating the object of that driver. So what is the solution to that? The solution to that will come up in the concept of interfaces. Okay, this constructor I will take up in day 5 actually. I'll mark it in red. Right, I have actually not taken constructor right now. I'll take up constructor when I will teach you Firefox profiling concept and all in day 5. Okay, it will be used over there. Fine. So basically what I taught you right now is in basics of Java installation, what is a jar file, how you can configure Selenium WebDriver, basics of OOPS and basics of drivers. So I have just given you a head start with Selenium and with the basics of object oriented programming. Fine, hold on, let me stop this recording.